Okay, there we go. Hey Dion. Okay, so I got a couple of readings. What is a Guest and What is a Settler by Ruth Kolezar-Green. And this is an article that's basically about the roles and responsibility of guests and hosts from the perspective of a Haudenosaunee woman. So and she's basing this information on her knowledge that she's gathered traditionally through knowledge keepers, through the wampum belt, and different sources like that, indigenous academics. And basically she has an intention of showing people, like non-indigenous people, what they might not be appreciating or understanding about, maybe understanding the full gravity of what their role and responsibility is as settlers. So maybe the thesis might be something like, through teaching about care and hospitality, we can learn how to treat others in our territories, and guests have a responsibility to listen and learn that. So she proves her point. She goes about it basically by sharing teachings and learnings and like things she's learned about wampum belts and knowledge keepers and traditional keepers from other nations, and she also examines settler discourses. So she brings all of that together with traditional teachings about guests and talks about how the wampum belt is basically a living document, and it was like a form of treaty that was like pre-contact with Europeans. So it's something that can basically govern interactions between groups of people. So and in this was there like an agreement that there wouldn't be any violence on the land, and that people would live peacefully and things like that. So there was rules for chiefs, and there was rules about making guests feel at home. So that's why there's like a continuing negotiation as well, because the structure of and how Canada is functioning continually needs like a revision. So that's something that's on the part of Canada. So it goes through all these different wampums, and it's basically the point is that historically it's always been our agreement to work with mutual respect and peace and friendship. So although we differ by nations, we have all of these sort of core values in common. So and in that there was like protocols for guests as they came in. They were to state their intention and and who they were and where they were from, and there was ceremony surrounding that. So that was something that built a relationship and sort of made you understand your responsibility as a guest as well. And guests had the responsibility to learn the protocol. So and basically the author is stating that guests need to understand the protocol of their treaty rights and the protocol of the people of the land. So and I think, and yeah, I agree with her. Like she got into labels that she uses, like guest or whatnot, and I tend to be really non-confrontational, and I tend to use Indigenous and non-Indigenous, but it is important for people to understand their role. I don't know if using guests or whatnot or settlers, or I still don't know how I feel about that. So I mean, they are settlers, right? So why not just call them settlers? So, but I just tend to use Indigenous and non-Indigenous because I'm very non-confrontational. So, but anyway, I think that the reason that the protocol of Indigenous people has been sort of disregarded over time is because that's been the plan of Canada. Like I think that's sort of a plan in colonialism. So that's all part of it, because I mean you couldn't walk into another country like anywhere in the Middle East and just stroll in and do whatever you want. Like it wouldn't happen. So she connects this thought of like Canada like continuing to exploit the land and their plan to colonize. She connects that to our reality now, and like how what this means for us, and like, what do you do when the intention of one side has an ulterior motive, basically? So, an ulterior intention, you know? So how do you resolve that? And she suggests like stewardship and natural resource protection and sovereignty of Indigenous people. Yeah, so I think that's a lot to think about. Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of that. So yeah, and then it comes full circle at the end. It gives a definition of both and what is their role and responsibility, sort of thing. And yeah, it was a good article. So, and I've got some other things here that are in the way, but I'm gonna make another one here. Just one sec.